Hey everyone, Matt here, and this is Making Dollars and Cents at the Box Office Labor Day edition. Alright, so the summer blockbuster season definitely went out with a little bit more of a whimper than a bang, as Don't Breathe took the top of the box office with $19.5 million. Now that's actually huge for Don't Breathe, because as of Sunday, it had only dropped 40% from its opening weekend, and by the end of the 4-day weekend, it had only dropped 26%. Now to put that in perspective for you, the last horror film that took the top of the box office for 2 weekends in a row was Ouija back in 2014, and that, its respective weekend, still dropped 46%. Don't Breathe has been going super strong since opening night, and given the fact that it's been getting overwhelming praise and positive feedback from fans and critics of the genre, I'm really not too surprised that audiences turned out in favor of Alvarez's film this weekend. The major disappointment this weekend was actually finding our two wide-release newcomers, Light Between Oceans and Morgan, falling pretty significantly low on the charts. In fact, Light Between Oceans just barely cracked the top 10 with $5.9 million, landing it at spot number 8. Light Between Oceans is Derek Cianfrance's latest film, following his Academy-acclaimed Place Beyond the Pines and his debut film Blue Valentine. And I was so excited for this film that I made it top priority to make sure that I went to go see it opening night, and I am so glad that I did. For those familiar with Cianfrance's work, you know he's a master at telling raw human stories. And just like in Blue Valentine, we're given a collection of characters in Light Between Oceans that you can't help but feel so deeply for. You don't look at the decisions that these characters are making and think, oh, that was stupid of them, or oh yeah, they totally deserve what they get in the end. No. You feel every emotion that these characters have. You wrestle with every dilemma that they encounter. You're rejoicing with them in their highs and you're mourning with them in their lows. I mean, I was never once bored with where these characters were going in this film. Now I know that's a big statement, and had I heard that before going to see the film myself, I probably would have doubted the merits of it. But believe me when I say that the performances by Michael Fassbender, Alicia Vikander, and Rachel Weisz are so beautiful that you can't help but feel for everyone involved in this story. Even the B characters offered something for the audience to connect to emotionally, and that's rare to find even in an Oscar nominee. Aside from the exquisite acting and the beautiful directing, this film offers audiences the most cinematic 2 hours of storytelling yet this year. I would be hard-pressed to say there wasn't a single frame in this film that wasn't thoroughly, thoughtfully considered and executed. The landscapes are so majestic and enrapturing, and the camera work is so organic and real to the characters. From a simple yet beautiful sunset scene as our two characters are finding refuge in one another's presence, to a climatic sprint across the beach as they're at their most frantic, the cinematography in this film truly added a new reading into this story. I personally love period pieces, so I'm probably a little biased when I say this, but for me, this is my favorite film from Cianfrance yet. And while not having a super strong opening weekend, Light Between Oceans is a true breath of fresh air and an otherwise unimaginative and recycled year of storytelling. The staying power of the film, though, is kind of hard to gauge. It's a really early frontrunner for the Oscars, but it did open in only 1,500 theaters this weekend and is set to expand into more in the coming weeks, which could give it a chance to recoup some of its lost momentum from Labor Day weekend and potentially attract more moviegoers to it. Now, while we are still a ways away from seeing all that the Oscars season has to bring with it this year, I would be surprised and truly infuriated if this film didn't pick up at least 1 or 2 Oscar nominations. From the cinematography and the acting to the fact that this is a beautiful book-to-film adaptation, this film is a serious Oscar contender, guys. So, looking ahead to next weekend and continuing down that path to the Oscars that Light Between Oceans started for us this weekend, we have Clint Eastwood's latest film, Sully, which is leading the pack of newcomers. Sully is an American biopic of the fateful US Airways flight that landed in the Hudson, piloted by Chelsea Sullinsberger. The film stars Tom Hanks and is kind of a bit of an Oscar grab. And while I'm sure the story does have some merit to it, totally, I do think this is a little bit of a safe bet for Eastwood following his 2014 American Sniper. Additionally, we have another PG-13 film, When the Bough Breaks, an R-rated horror film, The Disappointments Room, and a PG animated family film, The Wildlife, that's also opening against Sully this weekend. The Disappointments Room has been on hold by Relative Media for about a year now, which could honestly give it a competitive edge against Sully, as a lot of people have been eager and interested in seeing it. However, it has a lot of hype to live up to because of Don't Breathe. All in all, we have parted ways with the summer blockbuster season of 2016 and have entered into this awesome fall season where we have a large array of films ripe and ready for the viewing. From horror to action movies and even some early Oscar buzz films, we've got a lot that audiences can appreciate right now. So go take advantage of that and see a movie this weekend so you can join the conversation. And we'll see you next week on Making Dollars and Cents.